Let's see here. Should be going live here soon.
Yeah, you're good. It's going to be the time that my fucking wife comes in here and just, rah!
Probably. That's how it works.
Oh, fucking shit, dude. My back is killing me.
So good. It says well, let's just see here. I think we're live.
Better put your dick away.
I think we're good. We're live. I will start the recording as well. So there you go. It's supposed to be the first live stream. I don't expect anybody to join, but you never know.
Hey, it happens.
You never know. Yeah. Oh, goodness. I also got it set up now so I don't have to have headphones on, which is nice.
Yes.
So it
is nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it feels a little more organic. You know, it's like you're still like a million miles away and you're like a little Zac screen.
Yeah.
Which doesn't do you justice, but yeah, it's still good enough. Anyway, so what do you want to talk through today? There's like a million things we could cover.
I don't know, man. I specifically really, truly want to get into a few things that we've covered over the last couple podcasts. I want to get into some of the stuff from Springfield, Ohio. I want to get into some Kamala stuff. I want to get into the Trump assassination. You know, I mean, the Trump assassination, you know, everybody is already acting like it's just kind of whatever, you know, like it's just another fucking Tuesday.
Yep.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. Absolutely fucking nuts. So
a little bit of all of that stuff, you know. I don't know where you want to start us off at, but where you want me to start us off at. We'll take it from somewhere and start rambling, I guess.
No, I think any of that is good, dude. It's nice that, I mean, let's start with the assassination attempt, second one.
Yeah.
It is also crazy that the first assassination attempt is still where it's still underway and the investigation is underway. You would have no idea if you were time traveling or not time traveling. If you were just suddenly dropped in the United States,
let's say you woke up from a coma today.
You would have no idea.
You woke up from a coma you fell into it, you know, January fucking 1st, right before 4th of July, and you woke up today. You would have no idea that 2 assassination attempts happened on Trump.
Right. None. The news is covering none of them. As a matter of fact, MSNBC is trying to, you know, make the second assassination attempt sound like a hoax, like it's just fake news.
They were out on the golf course filming him.
Yeah.
Why were they out filming him on the golf course?
You know, I was looking into this. While uncommon, it is MSNBC. And maybe they just wanted to create another, like, you know, look at this guy. All he does is golf all day, blah, blah, blah.
Maybe, but at that exact moment.
Here's the thing. Okay, so let's just tie this in a nice little pretty bow for everybody who's listening who may not have been following this as closely as you and I. His name is Ryan Ruth. He's a 39-year-old guy. He's involved in lots of weird shit.
He's 39?
He's 39.
I thought he was 60.
Yeah, 39. Well, look it up real quick while I'm telling the story.
I'm going to look it up right now.
Okay. I'm pretty sure I heard he was 39. Regardless, he flies in from Hawaii. Okay, he flies in from Hawaii to into Florida. All right. He purchased himself a gun. Either he bought the gun with the serial number stamped out, or he stamped it out himself. One or the other is unclear. He makes his way to the golf course that Trump, at one point, in the future, sometime in the future, will be playing golf. It is unclear how he knew Trump was going to be there, simply because Trump didn't know Trump was going to be there. Trump decided, just on a spur of a moment, to go golfing that day. He had to tell his Secret Service, And the Secret Service was like, okay, well, this is not on the schedule. We have to do a thing. We have to figure this out. So let's get some crew over there real quick, scout the area, secure it, do all the things that we do in the Secret Service, and then let Trump show up. Okay? So the Secret Service had to react to this. They didn't even know that this was going to happen.
That's who fired the shots out there on the golf course.
Yes, exactly.
It's the secret agent that saw his rifle.
Right. But the point is that the Secret Service didn't even know that Trump was going to be there. So how did this guy know? How did Ryan Ruth know that Trump was going to be there that day?
Yeah.
And then the second question is, if the Secret Service didn't know, how did MSNBC know? Did they just get lucky? Were they just camping out on his golf course? Were they also hiding under the bushes? Like, what is going on?
I mean, 12 hours in the bushes, right?
Yeah. He was there 12 hours. So he knew 12 hours ahead of time that Trump was going to be there.
So that means that either A, somebody had to convince him that. Just 1 second, Jesse. I'm sorry.
So yeah, we'll continue the story. But so Ryan Ruth flies in from Hawaii, finds himself in Florida, gets himself a gun without a serial number or a serial number that's stamped out. Then out of fucking nowhere, the MSNBC also shows up. But the problem with all of this story is the timing. So I need to know. I need a timeline, and I don't have this in front of me. I don't think it's actually been produced yet. One, when did Donald Trump decide to go golfing? When? When did he inform the Secret Service that he was going to go golfing? And then how did Ryan, one, know that Trump was going to be golfing? Two, he was going to be golfing at that golf course, and that he was going to show up because he was there for 12 hours. That's a long time to just be waiting.
Yeah.
Another question. Again, and then how did MSNBC know this? Like, I need to know when all of these people knew. When did Trump say that he was going to go golfing? When did the Secret Service find out? When did Ryan Ruth find out? When did MSNBC find out? There's a fucking mole in this administration. There's a mole in this somewhere.
Something is happening. Ryan Ruth is 58.
58, not 39. Okay.
I was like, that's an old 39, man. That's that's what Democrat Party does to you.
Yeah. No. You're not wrong. It's crazy. So anyway, but there you go. It does not make sense. It does not sound good.
No, I mean, it's not good. The whole situation is bad. Like, how did he get there with the tiles in his backpack? You know, like, he was camped out. Yep. He was ready to go. Yeah. You know, like, what are the odds? Like you were saying,
he had a GoPro. He had the ceramic in his backpack, presumably to deflect bullets because he was running away and they were going to be hitting him in the back.
Or to give him some cover or something, you know?
Yeah. Maybe, what was the GoPro for?
Film it, you know, posterity. They're going to make a documentary out of the Trump assassination. Use his body cam footage.
He's going to get some followers, bro. His YouTube channel is going to pop off.
The guy was all over the place, man. He was like in Ukraine volunteering, you know, trying to get Pakistani fighters to Ukraine to fight Russia.
Yeah.
You know, this guy's all over the place. I just watched a video where like his number one follower was an ex-CIA operative. Nice. Sue Kim or something like that. I don't know how all of that even comes into play or if it's real or not. It's just shit you see on the internet, you know?
Right.
Watch it. You're trying to fact check everything, right? And everybody's talking about how he was in a BlackRock commercial, you know? So that's two of them in a BlackRock. I can't find any evidence that he was in a BlackRock commercial. First one, yes. Second one, no, not yet.
Yeah. So the first guy, Thomas Crooks, BlackRock commercial. Second guy, don't know yet.
But you know what's crazy, right? Thomas Crooks, CNN live streams a Trump rally for the very first time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why isn't that news? Why isn't anybody talking about this?
Yeah. We got MSNBC following Trump on a random day.
Yeah.
I don't know how often MSNBC follows him around like that.
Just golfing. Don't. Are they going to really record the entire 18 holes? All 3.5 hours of him golfing?
Apparently.
That doesn't make any sense.
Why? Usually they pay somebody to grab some footage of him golfing so they could smear him or something, you know? Whatever.
It makes
They're
no
not going to
sense.
send a camera crew out there and pay him to be out there for 18 holes of golf.
At least the MSNBC thing, I could get it. Maybe they're just waiting for him to, make a really bad shot, right?
Maybe.
Dog leg left, right into a pond, right into a house, right? Hit somebody. Who knows? Maybe that. I could come up with crazy reasons why MSNBC might be there. But CNN, to break an 8-year tradition of not airing Trump rallies live,
right?
That doesn't make any fucking sense. There is somebody definitely tipped off CNN.
I'm
CNN
just saying
was
that
100% there. It's fucking
there are
crazy.
Two similarities between these two shooters, other than the fact that they're both donating to Act Blue. They're both in super conservative or super liberal left-leaning commercials, right? And they're both on a day that Trump is being filmed abnormally.
Yeah.
I mean, the coincidence, what are the odds of that? You know?
America, close your eyes. There's nothing to see. Don't think critically. Just believe what MSNBC, CNN, ABC, CBS, all these anchors tell you. Just believe that. Don't think about
whatever they want to spoon feed into your mouth. Just open up and take it.
It's so ridiculous. It's so ridiculous that we're here talking about this right now.
The thing that I'm having a problem with, right, is that, and this is the biggest chink in my armor when it came to like waking up about all this crap, was it just felt like they were feeding me shit, right? And telling me it wasn't shit. And I was like, this is shit.
Yeah.
I know this is.
Yeah.
You can't lie to me.
I mean, they are. They're very good at it.
They are lying, and they're trying real hard. The lady doth protest too much,
Basically. So what's the end game here? So now we have two potentials. So we have one person who actually took a shot, got a shot off on Trump.
Yeah.
Okay. So Thomas Crooks, at least semi-successful. We're assuming Thomas Crooks' gun.
If it was Crooks in the first place, right?
Listen, yes. We're assuming in this conversation that Thomas Crooks, the bullet that left his gun is the one that hit Trump's ear.
Okay.
That's where we have to make that assumption here.
That's where we're at right now. Okay.
Yep. But now we have, so the only reason why Ryan Ruth did not get that shot off is because Trump wasn't there yet. He was not in, like, Ryan Ruth could not see Trump. He was still on the other side of some trees, right? There was just no vision. So otherwise Ryan would have got a shot off. And SKS with shooting 7.62, 3.9 ammo. Big bullet.
He had a nice scope on it.
Perfect scope.
Right? They fixed everything that they did wrong in the first one.
Yep.
He had a nice, clean shot. He was in the bushes, hidden.
Assuming he made it, all Trump had to do was walk around the fifth hole there, and then bam, then right there with his gun. Thank God the Secret Service was actually doing their job.
Yeah.
And cleared that shit.
Yeah. I mean, the Secret Service agents that were in the field were doing their jobs. The people who were vetting and setting all this crap up, no.
I don't know what's happening. But so now we have two people that could have potentially killed the dude. Does Trump make it to November 5th? Does he make it?
Yeah. I think it's the 5th.
Yeah. Does he make it? Who wants this is a terrible bet to make. I don't know. He's got what, 48 days? How many days until the election?
It is November 5th, and
in not very many days. It's
47 days.
47 days. I was off by 1.
29 minutes and 19 seconds. I'm not ready to just leave that up in my background yet.
It is getting scary, is all I'm saying. It's like, as every day goes by, it's gonna go up. So Alex Jones, who is, listen, in my mind, okay, Alex Jones is a great entertainer. Yeah. I personally, I'm not big on the Alex Jones InfoWars thing. He's a little too alarmist. He's trying to sell his goods. Like, literally, is the end of the world is happening, people. Nuclear bombs are raining down, but before they touch ground, go buy my merch. Go buy my supplements.
Right.
Okay, anyway, that's Alex Jones.
I mean, he's just looking at anything else that's an alarmist and realizing that it sells.
Yeah. So
shocking.
In any case, he's been right about some things. He's been wrong about more. However, his prediction now is they think that he's going to get him in a car bomb. Like he's going to be driving by and there's going to be a car that's going to just blow up. It's not going to it's going to roll over. His vehicle is going to roll over and cause enough damage to Trump. May not kill him, but it'll cause enough damage that he won't be able to run. That's Alex Jones's prediction as of.
I mean, he's in his 80s,
Yeah,
something like that.
He'll take him out.
It's hard to bounce back from. It's hard to bounce back from anything when you're in your 80s.
Yeah.
So
he's an old dude.
Yeah.
So anyway, that sounds deliciously terrible.
Yeah. The whole situation is just not my favorite. I never thought that I would be in a situation where I'm sitting here as an American wondering when a presidential candidate is going to get offed. How many assassination attempts is going to take to get him finally? They don't have very long. They've only got 47 days like we were talking about, right? I mean, sure, they've got the entirety of his presidential time, but his security is going to be more stringent at that point, hopefully.
What happens? Okay, so we have an election. Okay, let's just say November 5 comes around, elections are cast, or the votes are cast, and it's a landslide victory for Trump. Right? It's just it's something that nobody can really contest, right? You could try and whatever. It's just clear that Trump wins the election. Not a lot of brouhaha. Kamala and Walt stand down. They congratulate Trump on his win. Okay, it's November 10th. Boom, the bomb goes off. Right.
Right.
Now what happens? I honestly don't know. I haven't even looked into this scenario. Do you remember your civics?
I mean, JD Vance is supposed to step up.
But they're not president yet, right? So Biden's still president.
They haven't been sworn in. You're right. So, in that particular situation, I think the Trump administration would still take over in January. But
all right.
Because the other side has already lost the election and they haven't been inaugurated yet. So I think that JD Vance would be president at that point, and Speaker of the House would be VP, I think.
All right. So here is the answer according to ChatGPT. Okay. So if a president-elect dies before taking office, the United States Constitution and federal law have established procedures to handle the situation, primarily through the 20th Amendment of the Presidential Succession Act. Here's how it would work. 1. Before the Electoral College votes. If the president-elect dies before the Electoral College casts its votes, typically in mid-December, the party of the deceased president-elect would likely nominate a replacement candidate. The electors pledged to the original candidate would then vote for this new one. This would effectively make the new nominee the president-elect, assuming the Electoral College process goes forward without dispute. After the electoral votes, but before inauguration, if the president dies after the Electoral College votes, but before the inauguration on the 20th of January, the process is governed by the 20th Amendment, which states, Vice President-elect becomes president. The vice president would be sworn in as president on inauguration day. In this case, the vice president-elect essentially steps into the role as president and becomes the next president.
Right.
So if J.D. Vance was to go, then it would be, like you're saying, he would be the Speaker of the House, and then et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
Wow. So are we ready for J.D. Vance?
There's a lot. I mean, I think that J.D. Vance, with 4 years of Trump experience under his belt, is going to be a viable candidate in 2028. Do I want him today carrying the torch? No. I don't think that he has enough discontent in his heart to chase it, to fight the fight, Like we need Donald Trump in there because he's going to take the fight to Washington at this point. Like they've done enough damage to him as a person that he actually has enough will and testicular fortitude to actually take it to him. There's not a lot of people that are built like that right now. You have to be made into that person, and they've made Donald Trump into that at this point.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I don't see anybody else doing the job that Donald Trump is going to do when he gets elected at this point in time. So I was gonna talk about something, and I spaced it. It's gone now.
Gone. Oh, well, I got something for you. Let's move on then. So, second assassination attempt. We have already. Let's talk about election interference yet again.
Okay, I'm always down for that.
7 states, including
Yep.
Arizona and Michigan. A
Yep.
whole bunch of people over. I think it was yesterday or on the 16th. Seven voting offices or election counting offices received packages with powder in it. Hazmat teams were called to some of them. I mean, it was a complete shit show. This 47 days before the election, it's already starting. What do these people hope to accomplish?
I don't understand. I think that if they manufacture enough chaos, it's going to be hard to have a good election going into this election cycle, because if they're constantly changing the ballots or they're moving locations, I don't know, dude. It just doesn't make any sense. Why can't we just have nice things in America?
That's the question.
You know, why is it so hard to just freely elect candidates and do good things for the American people?
We can't have that, man. We can't have that.
It's bad for the globalists, right? You can't have a strong America.
You can't have a strong America. America needs to go down. Right? Yeah. To perpetuate war. Because think about it. If we have a weaker America, then all of our bases and all of our embassies all across the world become excellent opportunities of attack. And attacking any of our embassies or any of our bases worldwide would likely start a war. Perfect. It's exactly what they want. More war. Feed the machine. Feed the military-industrial complex.
I have to ask. I don't know if I got a straight answer out of you the other day or if you watched this video I sent you. I send you a lot of videos, so it might have just flown under the radar.
Maybe.
I was watching somebody talk about how ambassadorships are awarded to people. And it's basically to the highest bidder. It's something like you have to bid $1 million to a charity. I was watching this and I was like, is this real? Is this real life? So I know you've been around.
There's 2 ways. There's 2 ways you can become an ambassador. Okay.
Yeah.
One is like, the president nominates you for the role. And that's common in really important places, right? If you're going to London, if you're going to Berlin, right? Or Moscow, Moscow, for example. You need to be somebody that the president trusts for you to go and carry his message, to those states. But for everywhere else in the world, ambassadors come from within the Department of State, right? You have career service, foreign service personnel who make it up, who slowly rise the ranks into senior foreign service, and they're called council members, and they've been around. They're ancient, right? They've been around for a long time. They've earned the trust of the government, and they go from a deputy chief of mission who reports directly to the ambassador. They do that job for a little while, and then they eventually are then selected for an ambassadorship. And so these people typically, will take offices in, like, say, Latin American countries, South Africa, Africa, South America, Africa, those types of places where we need representation, but it doesn't have to be a big name. It's just something that's going to do the country justice. So yes, the other type 1 people, they absolutely need to be on the president's radar somehow, right? They have to they have to be on his radar. They can't be an unknown. It's not like, let's just say Harris wins the election. You would never become an ambassador, right? Unless you came up with, say, $10 million to donate to a charity, and you're like, hey, I really want to go to Berlin. Got anything for me over there? She's like, oh, yeah, I do. I will be the ambassador over there, right? That's how that works.
She said it in a way, and I was like, man, there's got to be something there, So yeah, I guess that makes sense. That's good to know. Good to know.
Mm-hmm.
But only the important positions go to people like that. the important ones that the president really needs to get his message out.
Yeah, you get some really interesting people. I've met some really interesting ambassadors. Typically, they're all filthy rich. Filthy, right? I remember, I don't want to name names or places, but yeah, we go into some of these. So the ambassadors will inherit a house, right? The government's already purchased. It's already there. Literally the ambassador's residence. It's always a mansion. It's huge. It's gorgeous. And the ambassador will typically, whoever this person is, especially if they're nominated by, the president, will bring their own staff, their own to run the whole place. They'll have, the government will supply security. But yeah, you go in and you'll see fine art on the walls, immaculate silverware, just crazy vehicles in the front yard, and like just the elite of the elite, and see how they live. And you're talking about like, they will have pictures, like, paintings on loan from museums and things like that. It's like, what? I remember seeing this in the Louvre or the Smithsonian. It's like, this is crazy. And it's that's just the echelon of people that make it to these types of positions.
This is the winter home for this painting.
Yeah. Or the other way around is they'll loan their stuff to these museums. It's just
right.
Anyway.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's how that works.
That's insane. It's insane to me how some of the government works and how some of it doesn't.
Yeah.
Just the whole process.
Yeah.
Mystifies me.
My favorite, one of my favorite criticisms of Kamala Harris of Trump this last, I think it was a couple weeks ago, was she was shocked that he was going to replace Biden's cabinet with his own. Shocked.
Obviously.
It's like, wait, why would you say this? What are you trying?
That's how it happens for every single one of them.
Yes.
Like how many staffers did they fire when they came into office?
Every last one of them. That's just the way it works. You bring in your people. Obviously, you're not gonna get out of the just like the 9-to-5ers. They just show up to do whatever you need them to do. But you're gonna bring in your own cabinet. All the decision makers are being swapped out. Yeah, it's absolutely bonkers to me that she was criticizing him for doing that. And of course, everybody was retweeting, reposting, like, "Oh my God, Trump's gonna fire all these people. Horrible, horrible, horrible. He's gonna turn the government into a bunch of sycophants that just do everything he wants to do." Yeah. Bitch, that's how this works.
How the whole process works.
Yeah.
Man, oh man.
It's pretty much amazing. I found a really great. I don't know which. Let me find it here. Let me go to my. God damn it. Just stand by. I got a great bookmark on Twitter. And I've lost it. The thing, if we want to just pick on Kamala for a second, is her stance on the Second Amendment. There was a great... So somebody posted a video of Kamala Harris in San Francisco. So this is many years ago. This is back when she was the DA over there. And she said, and I quote, "Just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible." Yeah, those words came out of her mouth.
I literally just watched that video not too long before we started this podcast, and I was like, like that is the definition of totalitarianism, right? It is like, what the freaking hell is going on in these people's brains? Like, you wouldn't want any government entity to come into your house for any reason. Okay?
No.
You don't even want cops to look in your trunk for something, right? Like, why would you want the government to have the power to send people into other people's houses? Right? It's going to be used against conservatives and guns at first, but then it's going to be used against people making social media posts that they don't like. Okay?
Like, I mean, it's happening in the UK right now.
Like, look at the abuses of the Patriot Act, right? We put the Patriot Act into place right after 9/11.
Yeah.
Right? There have been so many abuses of power regarding that act. And it was literally supposed to just be used against terrorists, right? It is used against American people all the time now. Like, all the time.
Right.
So if you think at any point in time giving the government just a small, tiny little bit of power is going to work in your benefit, it will not.
No.
It will eventually come back around and get you. Every time.
Yeah. I mean, this is why we need a smaller government, not a bigger one.
Yeah.
We've gotten to the point where we don't know what our government's doing anymore. I mean, for God's sake,
the Pentagon doesn't
even know what it's doing.
No one knows what anybody's doing.
Yeah.
It's too big to fail, and then it's going to fail.
I mean, it will slowly. I mean, this is how this works. It's really weird. So if you look at how the Roman Empire fell, right? It collapsed, for many reasons, but geographically it got too big. It can no longer maintain control over all its people. And so eventually it just slowly corrupted itself. But yeah, back at home in Rome, same deal. Its government got so big and its people so distrusting of each other that it eventually just fell apart. And we're seeing the same thing here. We're not geographically growing, but our government is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
We just hired 82,000 more IRS, for God's sakes.
I know.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. But back to that Roman thing, you also had the emperor's guard picking the emperor and killing him when he didn't perform the way they needed him to perform. Absolutely corrupt to the core.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, we have the Second Amendment for a reason. And maybe it's time we start to use it.
I hope not, but I'm glad we still got it for that reason.
Yep. Oh man, so another thing I'm really loving on X right now is all of these people that are endorsing Kamala Harris are saying that the Teamsters are behind him. The Teamsters are supporting Kamala Harris. So this is an interesting year. So I don't know why, but this year, the International Brotherhood of Teamsters has made the unusual move to not endorse anybody as a union, as a unit. They're saying, hey, all of you guys, all of you members, go ahead and do whatever you want to do. Vote for whoever you want to vote. Endorse who you ever want to endorse. 60% of them are behind Trump. I was just going to
say, 60% of the union is behind Trump. They took an internal poll.
Yes. And guess what?
He was like, well, I guess we're done this year.
But the Harris campaign picks that up. It's like, oh my, Teamsters voting for us. Yes. There's a handful voting for you. Yeah, sure. But it's a minority.
I mean, they'd be silly to vote against Trump in this election. I mean, he's doing so many good things for blue collar workers.
Yeah.
Just with the one promise, to get rid of overtime taxation. That's going to help out so many people that work massive 60 to 84 hours a week.
How about you?
I've met dudes that work 116 hours a week. Yeah.
That's crazy.
They work and sleep. That's it. I don't even know if they have time to shower at that point.
That's crazy. And so how is this going to affect you? So say they get rid of that taxation. Trump's in power. He gets rid of taxation on overtime. How does it impact you?
Huge for me.
Yeah.
I love working 84 hours a week when I'm getting paid. So if I'm not getting taxed on over half of my paycheck, I'm going to be living at the fab. They'll be like, Zach, you got to go home and shower. Please go home and shower.
Right.
Like, but I don't want to.
Right.
You will literally be beating me out of work with a stick.
Right. Because that's what they tax. Like what? How much of your pay? 30%. 35.
No, it's still the same amount of taxes, but just imagine getting taxed 1.5 times.
What's I'm saying? How much?
Second half of your check.
What is the tax? What's the taxes you're paying right now on your income?
22, 24%, wherever you hit on that taxable income bracket, right? But the moment that you get into, let's say you make $1,000 on the first 40 and then you make $1,500 on the second 40, right? That's what I'm saying, right? That's a good day. But let's say you get 22% taken out of that.
Yeah.
Let's make it 25 for shits and grins, right?
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a 30-year paycheck almost.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's supposed to be a quarter of it, but it feels like a third.
Yeah. No, it's not good, especially when you're not making shit tons of cash to begin with,
No.
I mean, and
there's nobody that's working overtime that freaking loves work. They do it because they need the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I hazard to find a single human being that loves work.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's not one, probably.
If you're lucky, there's a handful that really enjoy their job.
I love money. That's why I go to work.
Yeah. I work to live. I work to live. It's the same deal. I got we have a bunch of people that are that I work with that are actually in love with their job. They love it. I mean, I'm in cybersecurity, and they just live and breathe it. They are the right person for the job. They're crazy. They're inquisitive. They're curious, and they work. I would say on average, a couple of these guys literally put in 15 hours a day, and we're not paid by the hour. We're salary.
Right.
And they're doing 15 hours a day. They have a wife and kids. They're online Saturdays and Sundays. It's crazy. It's like, what do you do? Why? And they're like, I just can't stop. I just can't stop. I love this so much. I can't wait to go get the next bad guy. That's sweet. I love my job too. Like, it is fun, but I'd much rather be doing what I want to do, not living for somebody else's dream. Like, I'm making some people a lot of money, and I'm seeing very little of it.
Exactly. You know?
Yeah. There was a study that was done that showed that all the big tech giants could literally double the income of every last employee that they have. All the hundreds of thousands of them that work for these big companies, and still be just fine. Still make crazy profit. Double my salary then, bitches.
How would they build their AIs if they give it to the regular people?
Dude. You're talking about look at the the NASDAQ, all these stock markets. Those top companies now are $1 trillion companies.
Oh yeah.
That's a crazy amount of money.
Yeah, they have a lot of power.
$1,000 billion a year. Yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel about moving over to Ohio right now? There's a couple things I want to jump into with Rob Rule, Rob Rule.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I thought you were asking me if I wanted to move to Ohio. Fuck no. That is literally God has cursed that poor land. Listen, I have nothing against anybody from Ohio, but every other day is some toxic train derailment that's killing half the population. It's Haitians moving in and crippling towns. It's crazy corruption. It's violence. It's drugs. Ohio is. I feel so sorry for that state.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, the mayor in Springfield, right? Reportedly, he's got a massive amount of real estate. I got to look into this because I meant to look into it last night. So I'm just speaking out my butt right now, people. I'm sorry. But if it's true that he's importing migrants and then getting the government to pay for rent and renting out houses to them, that's a huge incentive to move 15 to 20,000 people into your town.
Yeah.
That's a huge incentive.
But think about that though, real quick. That's a lot of fucking people. So I live in a town of 12,000. Okay. So the ecosystem, the support and all that stuff that takes to manage this town is decent. We're a big footprint, right? And 12,000 people live here. It's two of us, two of my towns. All right. Is basically what would be required for Springfield to properly ingest and handle and address the 20,000 Haitians that moved in.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's not enough
that's businesses, that's schools, that's hospitals,
food,
right?
Transportation. I mean, everything.
Roads,
water, electricity. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of square footage.
Yeah. Especially over a 5-year period.
Yeah.
Hell, even if it's a 10-year period, that's a long time.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it's not enough. I mean,
that's a lot of people.
A lot of people for a very short amount of time. I don't know. There's no way they've done this successfully. 0% chance.
Well, we know that it's the government, man. Of course they didn't do it successfully.
Right.
Everything the government touches breaks. Just everything.
I wonder how, we haven't looked into it yet. Nobody's really been talking about it, but I wonder how this is impacting the region. Like, not just Springfield, but the towns around Springfield and the industry.
I mean, it's absolutely got to be impacting them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. And the same thing is happening in the South, all around the South, all those border towns, just inheriting all of those immigrants coming from all over the world. And it's not just like you're absorbing a bunch of people coming from Mexico or Latin America, where at least you have some sort of common ground, right? You're connected geographically.
Some cultural, yeah.
Like, hey, my people screwed over your people. Come, right? We're sorry.
I mean, the Texans traditionally were, Mexico.
Yeah.
At one point.
Exactly.
Before the Spanish-American War.
Yep.
So.
But now you got people coming in.
The native Texans were, the same geographical area as Mexico.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And now you got people coming in from literally all over the world. Bangladesh. Pakistan, India. I mean, all over
Antarctica.
South America. Yeah, West Africa. Dude, it's crazy. How are these people doing? Like, where are they going?
I don't know. I don't know, man. Like it's hard to like really wrap your brain around 10 million people, 12 million people that they've got documented coming into the country right now. Documented. So it's probably closer to double. Let's be honest. Let's say let's go shy and be 20,000,
20
right?
million.
Or 20 million. That's a lot of people.
What's the population in the United States? 260 million?
350, 350, 360,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. So that's not a
So,
small. So 20 million people is a lot of people.
I mean, that's like 10 Idahos,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's a lot of people.
I mean, it's how many? It's what? It's 10 Seattles. We need 10 more Seattles, and not just the city of Seattle, the greater metropolitan area. So Seattle, Bellevue, Kirkland, Everett, Tacoma, all of it is the greater metropolitan area of Seattle. The greater metropolitan area. You would need 10 of those to match those numbers. That's a lot. I don't know where we're finding the infrastructure. Luckily, this country is a lot of empty. So these people can literally just go find empty to live in. But I don't think that's what's happening.
So in 2020, the US population was estimated to be 329.5 million people.
Wow.
Today, it is estimated to be 345 million people.
Is that so? That's the census.
That's the census.
Illegal immigrants are not participating in the census, even though they're supposed to. They're like, hey, we don't care.
I think they go house to house.
No, they do, but you don't have to.
Like the census will come and knock on your door.
Yeah, I have personally never been involved in a census, but even it says on the card, like, hey, answer this shit. We don't care if you're an illegal alien or not. Just answer it. We just want you're a body
We
in
just
this
need to
country.
know how many people are here.
Yeah, and they won't do it. I don't blame them. I wouldn't. I'd be like, fuck you, government. You're not going to get me.
Deny, 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 right?
Oh, always. Absolutely.
But that's a lot. That's even 15 million people in 4 years on the census, right? That's a lot. And then adding on top of that there's a probability that we have another 15 to 20 million people on top of that. That's a lot.
It's absolutely a lot.
I mean, where are we putting everybody?
Luckily, we just updated Title 18, Section 611 of the Illegal Alien Act.
So they can vote.
They can vote as long as they believe at the time of voting they're a citizen. They can vote
if they believe that they're a citizen. I can't remember which state just kicked off like 15,000 voters because they were illegally in the country. However you want to phrase that.
I don't know. Did you know
15,000 people?
A law firm just had to sue the entire fucking state of Arizona because every last county, all 19 counties in the state, had people illegally still on their ballots or still registered to vote. And it went to every SEB, state election board, and then to every last one in the county, said, hey, these guys are on your records illegally. Please remove them. They all said no. Every last county said no. So they had to sue them. So now they're going to court. Why wouldn't they just remove them?
That's insane.
It is absolutely insane.
Like what? Like I'm going to go back to the previous statement I made at the very beginning of this podcast. Why can't we have nice things? Why can't we just have a free and fair election system? Like write a law. We have laws, right? Follow the law. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. You know, if you don't agree with it, work to change it, but don't circumvent it. You know, let the American people choose that crap. Let the state choose that crap. That's why we have states' rights. That's why we have mayors of towns being able to do whatever the hell they want because the people are voting those people into power. That's why it's so important to go and do your local elections every year or every other year. You know, vote for your mayor. Vote for your governor. Vote for your senators and your congresspeople and your treasurer. You need to. Like, I don't know. It just breaks my heart when people aren't using the system the way it was designed to be used, and then we all suffer for it.
Exactly.
You know?
And it's even worse though. You're talking about voting. Those 20 million people can potentially vote.
Yeah, I mean, if you can imagine your city changing drastically overnight, it's them going down and voting when you're not.
Exactly. And what if they vote
a
for
third of the population goes and votes unanimously because now there's 20,000 to your 60,000 and half your team doesn't go vote because they can't, or won't. You're going to see some changes in your town. A lot, very quickly.
Can you imagine if you wake up one day, you decided not to go vote, and you're a Springfield, Ohioan, you decide you're not going to go vote, it's just a mayor. You wake up the next day, and your mayor is a Haitian. Not racist, I'm just saying. Yeah. What just happened?
It'd be wild. Not even I know you don't have to be natural born to be a mayor, but...
No.
It
could totally happen.
Totally could happen.
Yeah. I mean, we just have to realize what we're inviting into this country by not securing our borders.
There's a town in Minnesota, is it Minneapolis, that's blaring the call to prayer
for the Islamic faith? Okay, listen, I saw the video that you're talking about.
5 times a day. Is it not true?
I don't think so.
Okay, I'm gonna look it up.
Go look it up right now. While you're looking it up, there was a video that went out that was trying to make some Midwestern town look like it was totally overrun by some Arab state, and that's not the case at all. This particular town just has a large Iraqi population, and every year they host a parade of like Iraqi tradition. And so all the men and women come out and march, and it's a whole affair. There's like, streetcars and food and a whole bunch of stuff all about, Iraqi tradition and foods and things like that. And I hear it's pretty fucking awesome. Yes, it is. It represents the Iraqi culture, but it's the people living there, and they've been doing it for quite some time.
So yes, mosques in Minneapolis, Minnesota are allowed to broadcast the Muslim call to prayer 5 times a day, year round. The Minneapolis City Council unanimously approved a change to the city's noise ordinance in April of 2023.
I wonder if that's actually happening still. I wonder if it's still going down.
I'm just saying, they have the ability to do it. Why wouldn't they do it? It's part of their faith. There's no noise ordinance that says they can't do it. So, 5 times a day, you could hear the call to prayer in Minneapolis.
Go pray. It's
at 3:30 a.m. in the summer.
Oof.
That's as early as it can start, and it has to end by 11 p.m.
So there's 4.5 hours during the day where it's not happening.
Yeah.
It's not great.
Nope.
Again, I'm not against any sort of religion, but I don't live there. I guess I really don't have an opinion on it.
I mean, we can't display the 10 Commandments in our schools. It's church and state separate,
Yeah.
There shouldn't be any one religion that has the ability to do something that the others don't.
Right.
I'm all about freedom of religion, but I also don't want to see, I don't know, a culture in America that is anti-American gain incredible power in our country.
Right. I'm not trying to get all
religion.
Crazy
religion
here.
Is one of the single most unifying things that people do.
It is. It is massive. It's the center of a lot of culture. As Christian, the Christian religion is center to a lot of the, American beliefs and politics and just our way of life. Yeah, I mean, we were talking about this before. You don't mix. You don't want to just purposely mix and clashing cultures together. The Christians and the Muslims have been fighting for thousands of years, thousands and thousands of years. It's a biblical war. And guess what we just did in the United States, right? We have just totally trashed over the last 30 years. We've trashed the Middle East, trashed it. I don't care if you believe that there are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq or not. It doesn't fucking matter at this point. We've gone in there. Millions of innocent people have died all over the Middle East. because of the
Yep.
American imperialism.
Yep.
They are absolutely allowed to hate us because of what
Yeah.
we've done. Can you imagine if millions of Americans died because Iraq invaded the United States and bombed our country, took out our president, installed somebody they liked, brought in some terrorist groups, and then everything went to shit because now Canada and Mexico were fighting over our country, trying to get territory? We would hate them too. I'd be like, fuck you, Iraq. How could you do this to me? So yeah, they're allowed to hate us. And now the people over there don't want to live there anymore because of how bad it is. Some of them are coming to the United States. They're great people. I've met a lot of, not a lot of them. I have met several people and worked with several people from states in the Middle East. But these are the rational folks. There's the irrational that are coming to this country as well. We're importing that. We're importing that hate, which we deserve, but we're not thinking about our actions here.
I think that, so long as religion isn't followed blindly, I think it can be a beautiful thing. I think that it can be incredibly organizing, and it can set moral and ethic values for people that don't or normally wouldn't have that kind of thing and actually need it, like that saying, you need Jesus, right? But I also think that there is a great power, a mob mentality, a tribalism, whatever you want to call it, right, behind the religion that can do incredible evil and harm if used improperly. So I just don't want to see that kind of crap being used in America badly.
It will.
And it's very easy to do.
It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. There's 100% coming. There's no way we avoid it. I mean, just it's happening in the UK right now. UK is a much smaller space.
It's happening in Canada.
It's happening in Canada to a lesser degree. But it will eventually, we will start to see these same problems. I mean, it has nothing to do.
Happening in France too.
Well, they've been dealing with it they've been dealing with much earlier, okay? Because the French have basically they allowed the citizens of former colonies to just fly into France with their own passport, so they can come and immigrate to France whenever they want.
I got you.
Yeah, I mean, it has, again, so the UK anyway, using it as the case study, it's a much smaller place geographically, a smaller amount of people live there, but a lot of people from the Middle East have been immigrating to the UK to avoid a lot of the that's happening in their neck of the woods. And now look what's happening in the UK, right? They're starting to having to deal with this culture clash, positive or negative. It's occurring. So it's just a matter of time before those numbers start to percolate in the United States. Then we have to address it here as well.
Yeah.
It's really touchy subject. It's a really touchy subject.
I'm not. I'm going to sound bigoted right now, but it's going to be quite the conundrum when the gay community starts running into Sharia law.
There is, there's
part
no
of
way.
me never wants us to ever have that happen, but also part of me that likes to watch the world burn a little tiny bit is like, what's going to happen?
Right. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I don't know. I don't think we'll get there.
We'll see. I mean, I've seen
don't know,
some
though.
pretty hateful people on the internet calling for it. Canada and UK.
Yeah.
Saying that it's only a matter of time before it comes.
Right. So can we go back to election interference? Okay.
Please. I don't even know how we got here.
I'm going to read Springfield, Ohio.
Yeah.
To take you all the way back. Okay. I'm going to read you a story, and then let's talk about it. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Now, you might already know how the story is going to go. I don't know if you remember this or not. All right. So, it's Christmas morning, 2020, downtown Nashville. The streets are quiet. Most people are at home, probably unwrapping presents or making breakfast. But as dawn breaks over 2nd Avenue, something strange is happening. Parked right there in the heart of the city is an old white RV. At first glance, it doesn't seem like anything out of the ordinary. But then the RV starts talking. A robotic voice begins blasting from the RV's speakers, warning everyone nearby to evacuate. It's a countdown, and it's serious. It says, if you hear this message, you need to leave the area. It says this over and over and over. And then he gives a specific time frame, 15 minutes. Just imagine you're walking your dog, grabbing a coffee, and suddenly you hear a van in the middle of downtown yelling, telling you to run. People start to talk. They start to take the warning serious. The police are called. Officers arrive and begin evacuating the area, telling people to get as far away as possible. All the while, this RV is counting down. But then it gets weirder. The eerie voice warning people to evacuate suddenly switches to music. Petula Clark's Downtown starts playing on repeat. It's the kind of song that makes you feel like everything's fine until you remember the van is still counting down to something terrible. It's now about 6:30 a.m. Police are doing their best to clear the streets, and then in the blink of an eye, it happens. The RV explodes. A massive fireball erupts in the heart of Nashville, shattering windows for blocks, debris flying everywhere. The blast is so powerful, it leaves a crater in the street. Buildings are destroyed. People's lives are upended in an instant. The aftermath? Pure chaos. Over 40 buildings are damaged or destroyed, but that's not the worst of it. The explosion targeted a critical piece of infrastructure. The AT&T building right there in downtown Nashville, it takes a massive hit. Suddenly, 911 call centers and cell phone services across multiple states go down. Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, people can't make calls. The internet is out. Emergency services are scrambled to function. It's like someone flipped a switch and cut off communication for millions of people. Now, at this point, people are asking, who did this? Why? And the answer is bizarre as the attack itself. Authorities eventually identified the bomber, Anthony Quinn Warner, a 63-year-old Nashville resident. He wasn't a part of any terrorist group, no manifesto, no demands, just a man with a conspiracy theory and a van explosive. Warner, as it turns out, had some deep-seated paranoia about 5G technology. At least this is what they want us to believe. He thought it was a part of a vast, dangerous plot, so he chose that AT&T building deliberately, thinking he was doing something great. Warner died in the explosion. He knew what he was doing, and somehow in this destructive act, nobody else was killed. It's a miracle, really. The police reacted so quickly, cleared the streets, nobody died. That was December 25, 2020. What was happening December 25, 2020?
That I do not know. I do remember the story.
So this was right when people were still in the midst of all this election counting and trying to figure out what was happening. They were coordinating things in Georgia. Trump had a whole bunch of people out there canvassing all of these states that were implicated, right? Trying to figure out what was happening, right? And he had call centers and people working together trying to sort out if there was mass campaign fraud. And all of a sudden, all of that work that he was doing, trying to figure out what the hell was going on, stopped. Nobody could communicate right after that bomb went off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
A lot of people don't even remember this happened. Unless you're a Nashville resident living on fucking 2nd Avenue, you probably forgot about it.
I absolutely did forget about it.
Right?
But as soon as you started talking about it, I was like, oh yeah, I remember this.
You know where this is going?
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy.
It's wild.
Yes. And I haven't even begun to dig into this, but it just occurred to me the other day when I was reading through Twitter. Somebody brought this up and was like, wait a second, did this have anything? It was my thought. Somebody else was thinking, does this have anything to do with election interference? And then people started putting the dots together. It's like, oh shit. Maybe it was. Because there's no way this guy was going out there to
freaking do that.
For 5G? 5G is fucking you so bad that you need to go blow up some random building. By the way, where there's no 5G being broadcast. 5G was not being broadcast from this building. This was like a nerve center.
Shot and put in that RV, and they set it off for him.
Probably. I mean, his body was obliterated. There was no Warner left. There was no way to do any sort of autopsy. They were looking for teeth, right?
Teeth embedded in buildings nearby.
Exactly. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
I have got to dig into more of this. I'm going to. So stand by. In a further episode, I'm going to suddenly go off on, again, the bombing of 2020 in poor Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah. Probably still not be as argumentative as I am on TikTok right now. for some weird reason.
Why are you being argumentative on TikTok?
I don't know. People are just hitting me at the exact right time that I want to be an internet troll for some reason. I very rarely get that bug up in me,
Yeah,
I
totally
got
ignored
it. I've got it today. Somebody said something to me, and I was like, "Let's engage."
You have my attention. Nobody wins an internet argument. Nobody.
No, nobody wins. You're not going to convince anybody.
No.
You're not going to convince anybody of anything.
No.
It's
Absolutely
just
not.
literally being a 12-year-old on the internet.
Exactly. Do you know? I'm asking this because I actually don't know. When states are counting votes, right? And we're watching Fox, we're watching CNN, we're watching the tallies come through. How is CNN, how is NBC, all these places, how are they actually calculating those? Are they getting official reports from counting centers and then adding that to a registry?
Yeah.
Okay, so in CNN 2020 live coverage, okay, they're covering Pennsylvania, right? You have John King doing his thing, all right, going into the counties and looking at the numbers as they're coming out. And in Pennsylvania, at one point in time, okay, they have 1,690,589 people voting for Trump and 1,272,400 some odd voting for Biden. Now, 30 seconds later, okay, Trump's numbers go from 1.69 million to 1.67 million. They went down.
Right.
And
which never should happen.
Biden's numbers went up by the exact same amount that Trump's numbers went down.
This is what I was telling you about with Dominion servers being able to flip. I watched this interview with a guy who was talking about how he could hack Dominion servers, voting machines specifically.
Right.
And he could write a code that would flip the vote. So whenever somebody voted for Biden, it would go to Trump or vice versa. Right. And he could do that in any machine and no one would ever even know that he got in there and wrote those. So that's not good. That's not good.
So anyway, this guy, there's evidence of this happening anyway, live. And I'm not tracking all the reasons why a vote might go down or up. I understand up makes sense, but down doesn't make any sense.
I mean, maybe they recounted, but usually they don't recount. They don't have time.
Why would you be recounting in the middle of a count? You're literally...
That's my point. That's my point.
Yeah.
You don't have time. You don't have time for a recount. But the only logical explanation is they did a recount on a stack, and invalidated some numbers and then recorrected them. But I don't think that they do that. I think they just count as many ballots as fast as they can. So I've watched some ballot counts where they'll count them the first time, they'll get a good tabulation, they'll count them a second time, make sure that there's no mistakes. So maybe they uploaded the results from the first one and then did a second thing and then had to edit them. But that's I don't think that they do that on election night. Really,
I don't think so. Yeah, there was another interesting thing too that was happening. I think it was also in Pennsylvania, or maybe it was Georgia. Well, it was one of the big states. Trump was leading by about 200,000 votes. Okay, commanding not a good lead, solid lead.
Yeah.
And I think it was CNN had Biden as the winner for the state, even though Trump was
called it for Biden.
Trump was on the top, leading significantly in the vote, but they still had Biden at the bottom. So I get that if you're talking about little baby states where they're waiting for like the major city to come online and they know that whatever it is, whichever big city, which is massively liberal, is going to vote and get all their votes in, and it's all going to go to the one guy. I get that. But for a big state like Pennsylvania, which is, a battleground state, no.
Right.
Seems presumptuous.
Yep.
I cannot wait for the elections, man. I am so excited.
I know you're never on the same page as Rudy Giuliani, right? But I can see where his point is, where he was like, the election was rigged. It had to have been.
Rudy Giuliani held a press conference at the Four Seasons Hair Care and Lawn and Tire Salon. Okay.
He's old, dude. He makes mistakes.
He still had the press conference. He could have called it off. He could have moved it, but no. No. He was like, nah, this is good. Let's fucking go.
This is good enough. Let's go.
Yep. Absolutely insane. Ah, goodness.
Dude, this week has been so wild for the news. The last week has been so wild. It's been all over the place. Kamala Harris has been everywhere. She's word salading the shit out of her interviews again. Did you watch the latest interview that she had when they were asking her about, you know, how she's going to fix the problems in the economy? And then she goes off on perfect yards at how, like, all of her neighbors were real proud of their yards. It's
No.
like, what are you talking about, lady?
It's hard to say.
You know, like, how did that come out of your mouth as the presidential nominee?
Unless she has a script in front of her, she doesn't really know what she's saying. Like, not a lot of stuff she says makes much sense. I mean, it is what it is.
I just want two presidential candidates up there that want to do right by the American people. You know, that's not too much to ask for. It's really not.
At this point, it is.
Apparently.
It's just not going to happen. We are beyond screwed as a society. So Trump has one more term left. Let's just say he wins. He's going to step down, and then what? Then what? The Republican Party is no longer beholden to him, right?
Nope.
The Republicans could go do whatever they want.
Yep.
I mean, it's almost like, let's just get it over with.
Right.
You know, if I'm the DNC and I've just lost Biden and nobody else really had any sort of momentum in a campaign, sure, throw in Kamala. You know, why not?
I get it.
Whoever Tim Walz is, why not? Give him a shot. Give him some extra airtime.
There's so much speculation going on, right? Because they're like, oh, they'll assassinate Trump and then they'll assassinate Kamala Harris, right? Like, what does that do for him? Mike Johnson becomes president of the United States at that point.
Ew.
Right? Like, ew. What does that do for anyone? Right? So they're not going to be assassinating Kamala Harris.
No.
Right? They're not going to be taking Tim Walz out. That doesn't help anyone at all. So, and assassinating Trump, you know, that if they do it before the election and like you were saying before the electoral college votes, sorry, that throws it back over to the Democrats maybe, but
perhaps. I mean, we could literally, these guys could just wait it out is my problem. It's the thing, more to your point.
Yeah.
Like, when do we get real candidates? They could just wait out Trump. Once Trump is gone, okay, as long as Trump doesn't bring in an independent or a third party by the end of his term, it goes back to the DNC, goes back to the RNC, and they're going to, then Trump will just be a bad memory and go back to corrupting the government.
This is what my point was a couple podcasts ago. The Democrats, if they were smart about what they were doing and they actually wanted to win and just retain power, they should have let Trump keep the presidency at the ass end of COVID, because it would have been a travesty. You know, they would have kept their base still all about the Democrats. I mean, you would still be brainwashed about the Democratic Party, right?
Yep.
Everybody would still be on board.
Yeah.
They would have won. I mean, they could have shut down elections forever if they would have left Trump in power for another 4 years. He would have been so distracted with all of the manufactured chaos, COVID, the recovery, you know, everything, you know, that we're watching with Biden right now, being distracted with. Like, Trump wouldn't have been able to do anything productive in his second term.
Nothing. Yeah.
You know, and if the Democrats had been smart, they would have just let him win and slayed it on 2024.
Right.
Because we would all been sick of Republicans for, you know, maybe our lifetime at that point. So they're not playing chess, they're playing checkers.
That would have been the right thing to do. Yes, if they were going to go for ultimate corruption. But, I mean, they messed up. I mean, I don't think
They messed up hard.
I don't think they realized that they had an opportunity to let Trump really just ruin the Republican Party, right?
I mean, he already had. He already had at that point. They were
I
in
mean,
shambles.
it would have really, really, just it would have solidified. It would have been a permanent thing. Trump, because he was, like you said, he was too crazy to really think
There was
straight.
too much manufactured chaos around him.
Right.
Like, if you remember the ass end of 2020, we were in chaos.
Yeah.
Like, the American people were fed the fuck up of it. So
Exactly.
if we had another 4 years of that, but they just couldn't wait. They couldn't wait. They had to fucking pull their shenanigans, impeach him a second time, do all their bull crap.
Right.
It's like, why? Why go through all that trouble? Like, he would have done the job. Like, if they had never gone after Trump, he would have done their job for him.
Exactly.
If you guys had just kept it in your pants, Trump would have got himself unelected.
Yeah.
Just by using his mouth.
Yep.
Nobody would even have thought to vote for him a second time, but it was because the Democrats came out and started pulling corrupt shenanigans that everybody was like, this is not right. And then they had people like me that had to come out and be like, I got to support the guy now because what the hell is happening? I don't want to live in a country like this.
Mm-mm.
And then it bleeds over and shit. Now me and Jesse are allies,
Right.
So like, how does that happen?
Right.
They just needed to keep it in their pants. That's all they had to do. So it makes me think that they're stupid and dangerous, which is not a good combo. It's not. I'm glad they're not smart and dangerous, but
right.
still, it's not good.
Oh, good. Did you hear today? To totally change the subject on you.
No, you're fine.
So Trump is. Where is it? Let me see if I can find it here. Where did I put it? Trump is launching his own cryptocurrency. Did you hear about this? You know about this?
No.
Yep. So he's literally coming out with, it's called World Liberty Financial. It's a decentralized finance platform that his sons are fronting. Christ almighty. Anyway, he called it a scam, and now he's literally has his own coin. It's pretty much amazing. The idea here for this is that he's going to use it to help, manage, politics and whatnot. It's going to be another vehicle to get, campaign funding and doing all these things as one might do to kind of circumvent these campaign funding laws. On top of all that, though, he's really pushing, crypto. He wants to deregulate it. He wants to make sure it stays out of the hands of the government, and he wants to fire the SEC chair, Gary Gensler, who is a massive enemy of crypto. Like, Gary Gensler is a fuckhead, just to put it simply.
Well, I mean, he's
a corrupt piece of shit.
He's a minion of the WEF, man.
WEF, BlackRock, all of these guys. Dominion,
all of them.
Ugh.
All of those guys are the WEF, man.
Yeah.
So
anyway, so get him out of there. And then what's even greater about that, so he launches this coin a couple days ago. And today, in an effort to kind of promote cryptocurrency, Trump bought $1,000 worth of burgers at PubKey in New York using cryptocurrency, using Bitcoin.
Nice.
Did you hear about that?
No.
Yeah, he did. He literally walked in and bought $1,000 worth of burgers and started handing them out. It was like, what are you doing? It's amazing. It was actually quite amazing.
I don't know how I feel about cryptocurrency. I'm still on the fence about it.
I mean, why?
I don't know.
What's there to be on the fence about?
I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about it. I don't want anything that can just be shut off. I don't want any kind of digital currency. I don't want credits. I don't want somebody to just be able to turn my shit off.
You can't.
Dude, if I turn the internet off,
okay,
your digital currency is gone.
Yes. Okay.
I don't want that.
Versus your credit cards that you use today and your debit card and your online bank. How does that?
Stocks.
Huh?
Yeah. My stocks.
Oh, God.
My internet.
It's the same thing. It's a digital world, man.
Same thing. It's all the same thing. Yeah. I know.
Unless you're walking around with gold doubloons, then you're pretty much boned.
Dude, I'm just saying, I know how to brew alcohol, and if the worst comes to worst, you're going to catch me brewing alcohol, and that's going to be the next gold bar. I can definitely sling some vodka or moonshine.
Yeah. If you didn't live
That'll be worth its weight in gold.
If only you didn't live out in the middle of nowhere, we could have our own bar and we could have the show there live and have everybody come and talk shit all day long. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Have you seen like Kill Tony?
No.
Yeah, I think it's in New York somewhere, or not in New York. I don't know where it is. It's a huge stadium, and basically it's like 4 comedians kind of like take the stage, and they kind of sit in.
I have seen this.
Yeah.
Is it out of Joe Rogan's?
Joe Rogan's a guest sometimes.
Comedy.
Yeah.
Show like the Mothership, whatever.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a huge thing, and they bring on. So anyway, these
Comedy
4
Mothership.
Established comedians, right, will have people come on, and they got like 5 minutes to do a bit, and then they get voted up or down. Anyway, see, we could do the same thing, but with our bar. We could go in there, you and I could talk politics and have people up on the mic and just give their piece. We can give them like a minute. You got 1 minute. When the light turns red, you're fucking done. Unless we like you, then you could keep going, right? And you don't have to be, pro-Republican, pro-Democrat. You just have to be, cerebral. You have to make a good point. Exactly. Go up there and entertain us. That's what the bar would be, on top of all the other good stuff that you know how to run a bar with.
I like that, dude. I like that idea.
It'd be
I could get behind that.
Yeah, exactly. Have special guests come up so we can have like Charlie Kirk come up and be like a guest for a day, and then let the audience Q&A him. Shit like that.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun. Here's another one for you. This is crazy. Today, pager explosion. So pagers across Hezbollah in Lebanon
nuts.
Exploded. It was
nuts.
Highly coordinated and sophisticated attack that was launched by Israel, apparently. Thousands of pagers used by Hezbollah members detonated simultaneously across Lebanon and Syria, leading to the deaths of 12 people, including some children and civilians, and injuring 2,700 others, many critically.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Dude, just like your van story, your RV story, right? They played music, or they played the page sound for enough time for them to pick up the pagers and look at it to figure out what's going on. Boom. Hand and eye injuries, face injuries, pocket, groined area, because that's where they're keeping them.
Bye-bye pee-pee. Because we can't say that word.
It is a bad, bad time. That is a bad time.
It is.
I mean, 2,700 people staring at a freaking bomb.
Kaboom. There are so many implications to this attack. Again, I'm in cybersecurity, so supply chain is a big fucking deal. I don't know how the IDF pulled this off. How the Mossad pulled this off.
They bought a shell company, right, that was providing pagers through a Korean company. So they bought a business front, and then they were modifying the pagers and selling them in the area, from what I've been able to look into in the brief amount of time that I've been able to look into it today. So wild.
I mean,
wild,
the Hezbollah.
Right? So they've been planning this.
Oh yeah,
they've been planning this for years. So,
I mean,
and you have to wonder, right? Like, they've been planning it for years, right?
Yeah.
They've had to have, because I don't know how often do you buy a pager?
Once.
Right? Like, they don't break. They're like the Nokia bricks.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So how long have they been throwing pagers out there into the world for these terrorists to buy? And how did they not kill a shit ton of civilians? Right?
I don't know.
Did they just go, we only sell to Hezbollah? We only sell to terrorist organizations. How do you get
I don't know how they did it.
the pagers into these people's hands?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like, the supply chain analysis here is crazy how they got it.
Do you trust? I think they just had to trust that only terrorists are buying pagers in 2024.
I guess.
I mean, the guy who was running the organization didn't want smartphones, so you had to have a pager.
Right.
It was mandatory.
Right.
Yep. And so, if they're the only one buying pagers in 2024, maybe it's safe.
Maybe. But here's
that's the thin ice that you're standing on right there.
Let's bring this back. This back to Trump, okay, and the elections. here that's coming up.
Yeah.
So we have this war that broke out. Trump
Right.
alleges that it would have never happened under his watch. Right. Netanyahu would have never dared to do it. Hezbollah wouldn't have had a reason to attack Israel in the first place because he would have been forcing Israel to do better to the people, right?
The reason that it never would have happened, right? I'm sorry to cut you off here.
Sure.
Being a pain in the ass.
Yep.
The reason it never would have happened with Trump at the helm, right, is Iran would still be fucking broke because we wouldn't have let them sell a shit ton of oil to the world because we would still be fucking energy independent here in this country.
Right.
We wouldn't be begging them for fucking oil.
Right.
You know, so they wouldn't have had money, oil money, to throw at Hezbollah to create problems for Israel.
Hamas. Yeah.
Sorry. Both of them.
Yeah. First one, then the other.
Yeah.
You're not wrong.
Right in the ass.
You're not wrong. And so here's the problem now. Now you have Hezbollah vowing retaliation. Kamala, or Biden's however many more days until 47. The new regime takes over, right?
I guess there's a couple extra months, yeah.
Sure. This is on the election.
Oh yeah.
Look at what's happening. I mean, the IDF or the Mossad, whoever coordinating this, is out of control. They're now willing to risk like civilian lives. People that have nothing to do with anything are now totally wrapped up in this fucking craziness. I mean, don't get me wrong. They've already killed 40,000 civilians in Palestine. Right. And now they're killing civilians in Lebanon and Syria.
Yeah.
Not good. This is how you start a regional conflict.
I mean, it was going to head there anyways.
Well, this is how you do it. This is a great first domino.
It was going to head there anyways at this moment in time. Like, Israel has come to the table 5 times to have a ceasefire, to get their hostages back, to start negotiation process. And all they wanted was the leaders of Hamas, right?
Right.
The cowards in Hamas were like, no, we're going to double down. Right. We're going to be even more vile. We're going to start killing hostages. They killed that American citizen, that was held hostage. They're also escalating. Okay. It's not just Israel. Right. And I'm not playing, Israel as a saint. As smooth as this attack was, incredibly dangerous. Incredibly. You have no idea who the hell has a pager that you've sold in the area. I mean, you have no fucking clue who's holding that pager.
To 2,700 people, it is unclear at this point how many were Hezbollah and how many were just people with pagers.
I mean, honestly, though, who buys a fucking pager in 2024? Whatever.
We don't know.
Maybe parents were giving them to kids because they didn't want them to have smartphones.
I mean, I'm giving my kids pagers. Because
not anymore. Not anymore.
Facts. I will go and randomly buy one off the shelf of Best Buy.
Yeah. You're going to make your own.
Yeah, that's also possible.
But like, what I'm getting at, right, is that Israel has come to the table 5 times and Hamas has blown that negotiation up 5 times. Okay. Like, they do not want to come to the table. They're just stringing everybody along.
You have to appreciate
the good people.
Hamas does not represent the Palestinian people.
Yes, they do. They're the government.
They do not.
They are the United States government of Palestine.
So
there is no government.
I'm going to run an analogy by your desk. I'm just going to run it by you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Kamala Harris. She's democratically elected president. We love her. We voted her into president. 2 years later, she's like, I'm going to abolish this whole election thing. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life.
Yep.
Is that cool? She was elected.
And
is that good to go? Is that kosher?
Nobody in their country took back power
at that point
hands and murdered her.
10 years later, does she represent the American people?
Yeah, she does.
No, she fucking doesn't.
Because the American people have not done something about it.
What is the American people going to do against the world's most powerful military?
Bro.
Nothing.
There's 1% of the United States military. 1% of our population is the United States military. Very likely that 50% of the U.S. military wouldn't even turn weapons on the people. They would just stand by or join.
See, now we're
The
way
American
off
people.
into crazy land. But the point is,
I'm just saying
she doesn't represent, by your own admission, she does not represent the American people because we would have thrown her out. Well,
Right.
the poor Palestinians really didn't have such an option. The Hamas had the guns, not the people.
I know.
And so I'm telling you right now, the Hamas do not represent the people. They just simply don't.
What I'm going to say is that the Hamas terrorist organization owns the country of Palestine. Okay, they own it. The people in there, they're just a product. They're owned by Hamas, right? The people of Hamas do not care about the Palestinian people. They're just shields to protect themselves.
Agreed.
And to earn revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So while their plight is unfortunate, no one seems to be doing anything to fix it. Not us, not Israel, not the Palestinian people, right? Nobody is trying to fix that issue. So, I mean, it is just a hard truth that they are run by a dictatorship in that country.
Sure.
There's a lot of countries just like that. North Korea.
I'm not disagreeing with any of that.
Okay. So while I feel for the Palestinian people, right, I imagine that the vast majority of the Palestinian people have some sentiments towards Hamas because the people of Hamas continue to recruit from the Palestinian people. Okay. So either it's brainwashing or whatever it is.
Well, I mean, also Iran is definitely staffing them.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're paying people. And if you can't get good food in Hamas or you're a criminal element, you're going to go work for Hamas. You're going to go work for the government. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. We should probably do another on that. Like, I don't know if I want to do a podcast on it anyway, because it's just terrible. There's just no good news.
We get into the weeds on that, and we'll be getting into some bad territory.
Yes, we will. Very, very quickly.
You know,
we will be deplatformed immediately.
I don't really want to pick a side because I don't know that there is a side. It's a Hatfields and McCoy's part. You know, today Israel is doing bad stuff.
I have 100% a side.
I mean, today Israel was doing bad stuff. A year ago, Hamas was doing bad stuff, right? We went in and obliterated multiple countries for 20 years because somebody did a terrorist act on our soil, right? So I don't really begrudge Israel for doing similar activities.
Oh my God, I'm not even going to touch that statement at all. Not even going to get anywhere close to it.
We were just like, bend over, we're your daddy now. For 20 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The whole 9/11 thing, the whole
I know.
There were nuclear weapons that were never nuclear weapons and were never there in the first place.
I know there's a lot of false pretenses. There's probably some of that going on in Israel, right?
I mean, yeah.
They have some of the best intelligence. There's no way that they didn't see Hamas coming up. 1,000 years.
For sure. They knew.
So,
with their silly little trikes and powered parachutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God. What a disaster. This whole thing is a disaster. Yeah.
And we're banned.
Oh, likely. Oh, goodness. All right. Well, what else you got?
I don't know, man. Just watching Kamala Harris and the rest of the insanity of the world right now. It is disheartening, you know. I literally am just watching TV right now to see if Trump gets assassinated, and it's the worst feeling I've ever had in my entire life. Because like we were talking about it, and we're like, there's no way that it doesn't happen a second time, and then it happens a second time, right?
It's one of those things. It's going to happen until it's successful.
Right.
Like, these people aren't going to stop. There's no reason for them to stop. They have no motivation
you have to be
stop.
Like, is third time the charm? Does he continue to dodge? Does he do this for 4 years? Like, how much?
I don't know.
And I have to take my hat off to the dude. You know, like, he is still in there. I would have gone to a beach, man. I would have gone to a beach.
I mean, the guy
I would have pulled a Biden.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why he's still there. I mean, We were told that he was a narcissist, that he was doing this for the fame and the glory, even though he was a billionaire and was on The Apprentice. He was he was The Apprentice. He was mega famous and mega wealthy, but apparently he needed to be even more famous and less wealthy, and that taking all this shit from every single media outlet in the country was totally something he was willing to do as a narcissist and totally destroy his reputation and to destroy his businesses. He was totally okay going from being, just this real estate mogul to somebody who has how many 90, 70 criminal indictments against him. He's got to spend his days in court.
Criminal indictments, yeah.
Yeah. So apparently that's what a narcissist does. And so now this narcissist is getting shot at, has been hit once, and yeah, we're led to believe that he's just
close. He came dangerously close to a second, more proficient shooter, right? And this is the guy that is just running around grabbing everybody by the cat,
Yeah,
trying to just manufacture chaos around the guy.
Yeah,
do everything in their power to discredit him, create talking points, indict him for everything under the sun, if you'll believe it.
Yep. And people are crazy though. And like people are literally like
it's I've been getting in arguments with people about it.
People
sorry.
Yeah, it's psycho to me just how violently opinionated people are on either side of this whole debate. It's like we forgot that we are, Americans citizens. First. We're brothers, we're sisters, we're countrymen. And yet, if I have people like this in my own life. If you are voting for Trump, to them, you are just the most worthless piece of shit, scum of the earth, because you have a political opinion that differs from their own. Because they have been taught and fed to believe that Trump is this horrible human being. That and that thou shalt not vote for pure evil. He's Satan. He's you name it. But the thing is, he's just a guy. Like all of our politicians have been kind of scummy. Just a dude.
Yeah. Every single one of the politicians that we have had in probably the last 30 years are scummy as shit.
Yeah, I mean JFK. That guy was banging all sorts of people. Yeah. I mean, like Bill Clinton doing
hitting blowies in the freaking Oval Office, cutting massive freaking deals with his white collar buddies,
right?
Over Goldman Sachs, pardoning the shit out of them.
And I don't remember people being so vicious about Clinton and Clinton, but more importantly, Clinton supporters, people who voted for Clinton. I don't remember that kind of vitriol, that sort of hate.
Yeah, the only thing I really truly remember about Bill Clinton was Mambo No. 5 and the saxophone playing.
Right.
Truly. Those are like core memories for me.
And they're great memories.
Great memories.
So anyway, it's just this is where we've got. That's why I'm hoping this podcast, like we've not done a very good job today, but I'm hoping this podcast we could just be like, hey, we're super approachable. We have a point of view.
Yeah.
Come talk to us. I'm not trying to change your mind, but you can at least hear our point of view. It's researched. It's not just pure opinion and ass hattery. We try to stay up to date. Huh?
Sorry, I was just going to say, and most of the time I'm not super argumentative, but today I'm spicy.
Yeah, that will happen. And so I just want to draw out the conversation and not have it be so divisive. Like people who are leaving comments on our videos that are just like, they want to torch us down or they want to, carry us on their shoulders to cross the finish line. No, none of that. It's just politics. It's just politics. Yes, it will decide the next 4 years of our country's, path. I get it. But let's just talk about it. Let's just talk about what it means. If you say that Trump is evil, come and tell me why. Give me some links. Let me read a thing. Show me. Right? I'm here to have my mind changed. Just a few months ago, I would be right there with you, hating Trump, hating him. But now I don't, because I did a little bit of reading, just a little bit, and found out that everything I was told was complete malarkey.
And the farther you go down the rabbit hole, the more angry you get about it.
Yep.
Because you're like, I've been lied to for 8 years. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
A lot to be lied about.
And then it goes back further.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Goddamn. Well, do you got anything else, Zach, for us?
No, I
This
think
fine
that's it
evening.
for me. Yeah, it's 9:00.
All right. Well, good luck. Have a great day. And then I think we should do this again over the weekend.
Yeah, I'm down either Friday or Saturday.
All right, man.
If you got any time on either one of those days, I'm down.
I do. All right, man.